Hi, I'm Bill Niffen. Thanks for joining me for a special entry of the Jesusblog. Well, today's Memorial Day, and a lot of times the images that come to mind on Memorial Day are things like hamburgers and hot dogs on the grill, going to the local swimming pool, or maybe kids out of school for the summer and taking a family vacation. Well, Memorial Day can be those things, but it's so much more. It's also a time that we reflect on the lives of those who've passed away and how those lives have impacted us. When I think of Memorial Day, I can't help but think of Hebrews chapter 12, verses 1 and 2, and the great cloud of witnesses that have gone before us. Let's take a look at those verses. Therefore, since we have so great a cloud of witnesses surrounding us, let us also lay aside every encumbrance and the sin which so easily entangles us, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the author and perfecter of faith. When I think about great witnesses of the faith, I can't help but think on Memorial Day about Grandma Niffen. Grandma Niffen was a good, godly, faithful woman. The first 30 minutes of every day she invested in reading her Bible, and the last 30 minutes of every day she invested in reading her Bible. She went to church every Sunday for 27 years in a row. But the thing I remember about Grandma Niffen isn't that she knew the Bible, it's that she knew Jesus, and she lived that way. I remember every year in August, our family would take a trip to Louisiana, Missouri, where she lived, for our annual family reunion. And I remember to this day, Grandma Niffen would always come and find me. She'd put me on her lap, and she'd give me a hug and ask me how I was doing. And when we were done talking, she'd always reach into her pocket and she'd pull out a quarter. For Grandma Niffen, a quarter was a whole lot of money. But she wanted me to have a Coke, or as she would say, a sody. You know, the things I remember about Grandma Niffen are that she was a godly woman, that she was full of love, that she was full of patience and kindness and generosity. And you know, Grandma Niffen probably had bad days, but I sure don't remember them. She's been gone for about 25 years now, but I'll bet if you went to Louisiana, Missouri and asked people who knew her, I'll bet you they'd all tell you how much of a kind, generous, loving, God-fearing woman she was. Well, you know, I got to thinking, one of these days, I'm going to end up in a place like this. What will people be thinking and saying about me? When it comes to my role as a husband, will they say that I love Lori the way that Jesus did the church and that I gave my life for her? Will they say that I raised up Jason and Christian in the way that they should go? Will they say that I was the kind of business owner that looked out not just for myself, but for the interests of others as well? Will those who knew me from church say that I was a co-laborer and a bondservant in Christ? Well, on my good days, yes, they will. On my bad days, not so much. And I got to thinking, how is it that this great cloud of witnesses and people like my Grandma Niffen were able to run with perseverance the race that was set out from them? And how were they able to keep their eyes focused on Christ? And you know what I figured out? They lived every day the way they wanted to be remembered tomorrow. And I got to thinking, that's the way that I need to live. I need to live every single day of my life in a way that I want people to remember me tomorrow. I need to live every day of my life the way I want them to remember me on some future Memorial Day. Well, how are you doing on living your life that way? Like me, you probably have good days and bad days. But the good news is, you can live your life that way if you keep your eyes focused on Jesus and live your life today the way you want to be remembered tomorrow. If you're living the way you should, well done, good and faithful servant. Keep on doing good. Well, come back and join me in 2 weeks on June the 10th when we're going to discuss the issue of temptation. Until then, may God bless you and keep you, and may you have a closer walk with Him.